Mondays are new. Oh, Yorkshire Geek got stories for you. Favorite tricks beyond town's grass. Popcorn adventures on time. Magnificent Mondays with fire in our veins. Cinematic journeys, memories and chains. Geeky passion flowing pure and strong. In this world we all belong. Movies at war and stories that fight. From battles in space to tears in the eye. Epic tales, TOYG knows best. Trumpet tells, join the quest. Magnificent Mondays with fire in our veins. Cinematic journeys, memories and chains. Geeky passion flowing pure and strong. In this world we all belong. Movies at war and stories that fly. From battles in space to tears in the eye. Epic tales, TOYG knows best. Drop the couch, join the quest. Magnificent Mondays with fire in our veins. Cinematic journeys, memories and chains. Geeky passion flowing pure and strong. In this world we all belong. Lights dim, low screens aglow. TOYG takes us where dreams flow. Action heroes, villains, dark night. Every scene, heart still light. Geek myths, giants rise and fall. Time machines, epic brawls. Mondays they grew with Geek's light. Fantasy realms to infinite heights.
That ended suddenly. Hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to episode 126 of Magnificent Mondays. And this week we're going to break down and review The Hunt for Red October, starring Sean Connery. Everybody, you've got to say it like that, haven't you? You just have. Great film from 1990. But before, apologies, by the way, if you saw earlier on, I had the time wrong. It was set for 9 a.m. UK time. I forgot to do the AM PM thing and I did it wrong. But thanks to Melvin at Quest RRC for letting me know. Otherwise, I'd have been none the wiser. Because I'm a div. Winger says, I thought you were watching the film. I thought we were watching the film. Yeah. I still get those occasionally, which is why I put in the, if you see in the title, wherever it is, breakdown and review, spoilers. Anyway, we watch films on Wednesdays, don't we? Anywho, before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you subscribed already. Explore the description for links for stuff like merch and my books, which are under there, Amazon Kindle and paperback. What else? Links for me social medias and Spotify and all that stuff. And become a member and you'll get early access videos and exclusive videos and stuff like that. Members only live streams and things on occasion. Right, so The Hunt for Red October, based on the Tom Clancy book of 1984. The film came out in 1990. Directed by John McTiernan. Screenplay by Larry Ferguson and Donald E. Stewart. As I said, based on the book by Tom Clancy. I don't know if it was his first book. Was he a young up-and-comer when he did this? Let's have a look, see what it says. Let's have a look. Where are we? Works, fiction. Yes, it was his first work of fiction. His first book, by the looks of it. So there we go. Where were we? Stars Sean Connery, Alec Baldwin, Scott. It's an all-star cast. Scott Glenn, James Earl Jones, Sam Neill, and loads of others. You've got Richard Jordan and Joss Ackland, and Gates McFadden pops in briefly with an English accent. Not a very good one, but never mind. And loads of other famous people in. I'm blanking because I'm an idiot. Peter Firth, Tim Curry. Stellan Skarsgård, Senator Fred Thompson, as he became, Courtney B. Vance, Thomas Arana, Daniel Davis, Arnie's friend Sven Ole Thorsen, and many, many more. Even the writer Larry Ferguson has a role in this film, and not a small role either, quite a big role. Anyway, right, what else? Had a budget of $30 million, did $200 million at the box office. It was really successful and spawned more Jack Ryan films and TV shows and all that stuff. But unfortunately, Alec Baldwin would not return as Jack Ryan. They got Harrison Ford in, didn't they, for the next two films? So it's a really, 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 really good film. I've watched it twice over the last 2 days. And the special features on the Blu-ray. There's a commentary by John McTiernan, which is okay. And there's a behind-the-scenes thing, like a half-hour mini documentary, which is fair enough. And that's about it. But you can also rent it and buy it on YouTube and Amazon and other places as well. Wingray says, sure, Gates has the accent that stands out in this movie. It's almost up there with Keanu Reeves' accent in Dracula. But anyway. And that's because, the only reason she's got that accent is because John McTiernan wanted to like hammer home that Jack Ryan were living in London at the time. So he wanted to give him an English wife, which I don't think they went forward with in the other films, did they? I think she became American in the other films. Was it Celia Ward that played in the other films? I'm going to have to look that up now. What was the next one? Was it Clear and Present Danger or whatever? I'll try that one. Or Patriot Games. I can't remember. Oh no, that's somebody else. Just bear with me, we're live. We're Anna Archer. So, what was Celia Ward in? Yeah, I might be thinking of The Fugitive, maybe. I don't know, but anyway. Sean is a perfect Rusky. Yes, he's Russian. His Russian is about as good as Clint Eastwood's in Firefox. But anyway, we'll get on with the film, shall we? We're not going to watch it, obviously, because YouTube will go mental. It's a Paramount film, so I'll still get a copyright claim, 100%. They're getting worse lately. It's Paramount. They're getting like Toho. I think I've mentioned this before. But we're going to go through it in a series of stills. May play the odd little snippet. I'll try not to. But anyway. And I'll try and remember what I have gleaned informationally about the film. Remember, we're not watching it. So if you think we're going to watch the film, bugger off or get your own copy. Anyway, right. So I'll pop myself down in the corner and we shall begin. We shall begin when I remember what buttons I'm pressing. Is it that one? Yeah. Right, here we go. There I go, down there. Right, and add it to the stage. Right, we're off. We're off. There it is. There's the dreaded Paramount logo, which used to be one of my favourites because it's connected with Star Trek, isn't it? But there's a few Star Trek actors in this, by the way. But anyway, off we go. Right, okay, right, hang on, let's go back because we've got a bit of, here we go, a bit of exposition at the beginning in form of words. In November of 1984, by the way, this text were in the original script from the beginning, just setting up when the movie is set. But when they faxed the script, imagine getting a fax of a script. It'd take ages, wouldn't it? But anyway, when they sent the fax of the script to Sean Connery, he got on the phone to John McTiernan, and he was going to refuse to do the film because he didn't believe it was set nowadays. He thought it was set nowadays, and John McTiernan said, "No, it's set in 1984. It's set in the past." Because, Russia had changed. I think the Berlin Wall had come down since when they started filming this, or it were about, or whatever. Things were changing, weren't they, with glasnost and all that, perestroika. And so he said it doesn't show how Russia is, the Soviet Union is today, 1989, 1990. And he says, no, it says at the beginning there's a text thing that tells everybody when the movie is set in 1984. And he says, well, I didn't get that. So... But they missed out the first page of the script for Sean Connery for some weird reason. But anyway. And then when he found out, he said, yes, I will do it. But apparently, it was originally cast in the Ramius role was, I've forgotten his name. Klaus Maria Brandauer, that's it. He was originally cast, but apparently broke his leg, so he couldn't do it. And he recommended Sean Connery because he had just acted with Sean Connery in Never Say Never Again, in which Klaus Maria Brandauer were bloody awful in that film. But anyway. Wingray says Paramount needs to make up for their losses. They lost $573 million last quarter. They hope to get it back from my channel. Yes, claiming all my revenue. The buggers. Anyway. Right, where were we? In November of 1984, so it's winter-ish, shortly before Gorbachev came to power, I can't remember when Gorbachev actually came to power, because it was Chernenko, wasn't it, who were the premier of the Soviet Union at this time. So, anyway. But I don't think he lasted long, did he? I don't think. A Typhoon-class Soviet sub surfaced just south... Hang on. Of the Grand Banks. It then sank in deep water, apparently suffering a radiation problem. Unconfirmed reports indicate some of the crew were rescued. They're getting a nice map, by the way. There's Iceland with Reykjavik. What is the northernmost capital in the world? Reykjavik, Iceland, full stop. That's a young one's joke. Faroe Islands, which belongs to Denmark, I do believe, I think. Shetland Islands, which is ours. Missed off the Orkneys. Boo! And the Isle of Man. Where's the Isle of Man? I've been there, it's lovely. I've been up there as well. Bergen, which is about, I don't know, it's about there, isn't it? I think it's on the same latitude-ish as the Shetland. Bergen in Norway. Very nice. Beer's expensive. Anyway, where were we? Oh, yes. Some of the crew were rescued. And then goes, but according to repeated statements by both Soviet and American governments, none of what you are about to see ever happened. I don't think it is based on a true story. I think it is total fiction. Unless it were inspired by something, I don't know. But I'm going to check now, actually. Just bear with me. Novel of the same name. See if it is inspired by an actual event. I don't think it is. Does it say development? Oh, theories about source of the story. Somebody suggested that it's based on the mutiny of the Soviet frigate Storozhevoy in 1975. So there we go. So that's not a submarine, though, is it? Another documentary from 2020 said it's based on the loss of the Soviet submarine K-129, which was lost in 1968. And also, I suppose it's kind of inspired, maybe-ish, of the defection of Viktor Belenko, who flew his MiG-25 Foxbat to Japan. I think it was the most advanced fighter. The Soviets were claiming the most advanced fighter in the world or something at the time, weren't they? And then they got their hands on it and found all bloody, what they call them? What they call them? Not fuses. You know, like that light up inside. Valves, loads of valves and all stuff inside. But apparently it was still a cool aircraft. Anyway, right, so off we go. Enough of that nonsense. So we begin. Ever happened? And it didn't. So we begin. We're here supposedly in the Polyarny Inlet. Is the Polyarny a river? I don't know. It does say somewhere. Does it say? Is it going to tell us? No, in a minute. I bet he knows the eyes those are. They're the eyes of not Zardoz. Zardoz is somebody else, isn't it? Never mind. Right, so, there we go. Polyarny Inlet, north of Soviet sub-base near Murmansk, which is apparently, according to the maps in the film, is way up in the north of the Soviet Union, up past Finland and that area, up in the Arctic Circle. And this we listen to his first bit of Russian speaking in a minute. There's Sam Neill, before he became super famous from Jurassic Park. He's playing the second in command of the ship. I can't remember names, you know what I'm like. Sam Neill, where are you? Captain Borodin. So there you go. So he's the captain. So I don't know the ranking system on ships in the Soviet Navy, but he's a captain. But he's the second in command. So what does that make Ramius? Ramius is a captain as well. He must be a higher captain. But anyway. Here it is. I'll have a listen to Sean's. His sounds fine. His sounds fine. You just got to sound like you're talking backwards, basically, don't you? And here he comes with his thing. There we go. New Bara. Bless him. Apparently, they had to slim down his Russian lines, and they said, "Bless him, he tried his best." But it just sounds like Sean Connery and everything, doesn't it? Anyway, right, so off we go. Here we're going to see the Red October, which is cool. Obviously, this isn't a real submarine. I think it's like a big raft, essentially, isn't it, that they've built. But it's cool. I don't think it's as long as the actual submarine's supposed to be. It doesn't look 600 feet long, does it? Not by a long shot, but it's supposed to be 600 feet long. The size of a World War II aircraft carrier, we're told. I don't think that's quite that big, is it? But, never mind. But we've seen it being towed out to sea. And then we get the titles. Cool titles. There we go. The Hunt for Red October. There's an ice warrior nearby. Watch out. Okay. that's I know the ice warriors are from Doctor Who, but I don't get the reference. And Justin's here, classic movie, one of the best ever. It is a really, really good film. It is a really, really good film. Right, so we're off. In the opening credits, there we go. Joss Ackland, Scott Glenn, Jeffrey Jones. Less said about him, the better. He keeps popping up in these films, doesn't he? And you've got to like gloss over him and his things he's done. Anyway, we're seeing lots of naval stuff going on, pictures. Apparently this is the Battle of the Nile, apparently. And then we're seeing books, like Jane's, what does that say? I can't read it for Sam Neill's name. Jane's Fighting Ships and Fleet Tactics and Submarine Design and Development. Because this is telling us that Jack Ryan's an academic. He's got a model of a submarine there, look. Stellan Skarsgård before he became a Marvel star. Doctor Who episode where one got on a Russian sub during the Cold War, Capaldi era. I probably didn't see that one then. It must have been after I stopped watching it. Maybe. Anyway. Good book also, says Justin. I've not read the book. I've not read any Tom Clancy books. I don't think. Yes, he did. Jeffrey Jones did bad things. Or it late Matt Smith. Oh, I probably have seen it then. I can't remember. If it's Matt Smith, I will have seen it. Like I said, I stopped watching mid Peter Capaldi. I just can't remember. I'm old. Cut me a break. Right, anyway, where were we? Courtney B. Vance. According to, I forgot his bloody name already, John McTiernan, Courtney B. Vance were a theatre actor, and this film got him into movies. Well, no, he'd been in movies before. He were in, I'm sure he was. I'm sure he were in Hamburger Hill in the 80s, wasn't he? But anyway, I think John McTiernan's a bit, he's like me. He's got his memories going, I think. I just remember Clara in it. Did she look tasty in it? I know she's tasty anyway, Clara, but anyway. Just said, I try to separate the artist. It can be hard to. Yes, it can. I do as well. Separate the art from the artist. Anyway, but you've got to mention it. Right, and there's a cool computer from 1989. Remember, this film was released in 90, but we filmed in 1989. This cool little laptop that probably weighs half a ton. Anyway, so we see he's got all his books and stuff. This is his daughter, Jack Ryan, by the way, is who we're looking at. It's his daughter. I don't know who plays his daughter. She's one of these young actresses. Who you're looking at and thinking, is she like supposed? Is she 5 or is she like a dwarf, 38-year-old dwarf? I don't know. She's got something about her. Anyway, what I'm looking for, I forgot her name now. Is it Sally or something like that? Yeah, Sally Ryan. Louise Boris. She doesn't even have a IMDb picture, so I'm guessing she didn't go on to be an actor. No, that's all she's done. It's the Hunt for Red October. That's all she's done. I'm guessing she didn't carry on acting. She obviously thought it was crap. Anyway, where were we? Justin says he was in prison for it. Yes, he went to prison, didn't he? And put on lists. Winger says, yeah, we couldn't watch the motion picture otherwise. Oh, excuse me. Why? I'm trying to think now. What have people done that were connected with the motion picture? I'm trying to think now. I don't know. Robert Wise, has he done stuff? I don't know. Anyway, who was the best Jack Ryan is the question. I've got to admit, I do like Alec Baldwin. I do like Alec Baldwin in this. I do like him. I'm a huge fan of Harrison Ford's Jack Ryan. And I can't really remember because then we had Ben Affleck Jack Ryan as well. I thought that were all right. I don't think any of the Jack Ryans that have followed, that I've seen, were as good as Alec Baldwin's. Anyway. The director did bad things and was in prison. What, of the motion picture? Hang on. Decker was a very naughty man with... Oh, yes, of course. Yes, Stephen Collins. Yes, another one, yes. Like Jeffrey Jones. Are you thinking of Jeepers Creepers? Is that what you're thinking of? John McTiernan. In this, John McTiernan. John McTiernan. He did something like, I don't know, some financial thing he ended up in prison for. He want, nothing that bad, really, was it? I don't think. I will double check. I'm sure it was some financial thing he got in trouble for. I'm sure it was. Lied to an FBI investigator. So what did he do? There we go. Charged in federal court in making a false statement to an FBI investigator. What about? About his hiring of the private investigator to illegally wiretap Charles Rove and produce of his film Rollerball. I didn't know John McTiernan directed Rollerball, the remake. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, basically that's it. So, it's nothing... nothing sordid, just a bit naughty, I suppose. Anyway, where were we? Right, so back with her. There we go. Go to bed, kid. Here's Gates McFadden, look, with her amazing English accent. Let's have a listen.
More than the usual nonsense. 2 stories, 2 glasses of water.
2 glasses of water. Go on, Cheryl. Go for it. Bless her. Anyway, right, so he's heading out to London Heathrow Airport, which this isn't. This is Los Angeles Airport, but never mind. Just stick a black cab there. It's wondering a double-decker bus. Hang on, is that one in the background? I bet it is. It is, isn't it? It's a double-decker bus. Because it's London. Anyway. So here he is at London Airport. There we go. A couple of British bobbies as well. Just a drill home and a Union flag. Just a drill home that we're in London. There's a double-decker bus, look. And he's in a Range Rover. How much more British could you be? And it's been a Land Rover, wouldn't it, or something. Right, so he's on the plane, heading over to Washington, D.C. There's a very nice English stewardess, air hostess, cabin crew, whatever they're called these days, asking him saying he should go to sleep. It's a long flight, and he's telling her he can't sleep on planes because he doesn't like turbulence. So, and then we see the plane shaking. They've got to remember, he doesn't like turbulence. We'll come back to this at the very end. Right, so he's arrived in Washington, D.C., whatever airport that is. Ronald Reagan Airport? What it called that at this point? I don't know, but anyway. Justin says, Alec was good, but Harrison was the best, in my opinion. Clear and Present Danger was the best. All right, well, fair enough. And Wingray says, and then the Beatles walked by with fish and chips, yes. And it was raining as well, because it always rains in England. It actually rained today, just a little bit. Right, so there's getting met by some chap. There we go, Dr. Ryan. So he's been driven to the CIA or something like that. John McTiernan says he couldn't even remember where this was, where they filmed it. I think it does say. Oh, yeah, it says here, look. Central Intelligence Agency, because do they have signs outside? They must have. So this must be in, what do they call it now? Where's the CIA? It's in Virginia somewhere, isn't it? But I can't remember the name of the place. Never mind. And there we there, the late, great James Earl Jones as Admiral Jim Thingamabob. I'm hopeless, I know. Jim Greer, there we go. Admiral Jim Greer. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to have to just run to the toilet. I'm busting for a wee. I went for one just before we started, and I need to go again. So just look at James Earl Jones for a minute, and I will be back forthwith. My old bladder. I'm back. Bet you could hear all that, couldn't you? You do. Anyway, it's because I've had lots of coffee. I've drunk lots of coffee today, and I've had a donut as well. I'm not supposed to have sweet stuff, 'cause diabetes and stuff. But anyway, right, where were we? Jim Greer. I am your father. Yes, I'm like the Naked Gun scene. Good job I didn't have like a clip-on microphone. Anyway, where were we? So here it is. There we go. Jack boy, get yourself in here. Right, so they know each other, and he's gonna they get a bit of more exposition, a bit of dialogue about his family. They're fine. His daughter's a very precocious 5. She demanded that they buy her a brother, but they said she's going to make do with Stanley. Is it Stanley? They'll go buy a baby brother. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Oh, where is it? There we go. Going to buy Stanley. Stanley's a bear, and we'll see Stanley at the end of the film. A bear which we have seen in another John McTiernan film. But anyway. So it says now, okay, what's important enough to get you on a plane in the middle of the night? So it shows him, right. So, British intelligence, I guess James Bond got these photos. Here we go. Of the Red October, the latest Typhoon class. And they don't know what these are, these doors at the back. And some at the front as well. Does it show us? There we go. These doors at the front and at the back. I mean, they look like torpedoes, but apparently they're not. They're too big. Yes, it must be James Bond because it says eyes only, which was a James Bond film. Anyway, so they don't know what they are. So it says he knows the captain's Marco Ramius. He knows all about him. He wrote a bio on him because that's what Jack Ryan does. He writes books for the CIA, biographies on people that they need to know about and stuff like that. There we go. The Russians call him Vilnius Nastavnik, the Vilnius schoolmaster, because he's taught all of their top captains and all that. Right, so I don't know what it is. So it says, I want to show Skip Tyler with Jeffrey Jones. So he's going to go over and show him. Anyway, so we're also going to learn now that satellite photos or whatever showed that the Red October put to sea that very morning. So off he goes. There we go. Satellite caught Red October in the Pollyanna Inlet this morning. So, and then we're going to some special effects now. Look, cool. But it's not the Red October we're seeing. It's the USS Dallas. Here it comes, I think. Yes, it's the USS Dallas. There we go. Los Angeles class attack sub. It sounds cool, doesn't it? Attack sub. 100 miles northwest of the Pollyanna Inlet. So they're doing their patrol. So here we go. Cool seeing all the little things flying by, look. Because no sub in this film, apart from the real life subs that we see, but when we see them under the water, they're not actually in the water in real life. It were all filmed in smoky rooms. To make it look like it's underwater. Good old Industrial Light and Magic did the effects for this. And they wanted... I nearly bit my tongue then. They were going to try and use CGI, but it was still in its early days, and so they ended up not using CGI, apart from in like enhancing stuff, like or adding bubbles and stuff like that, or wash from the propellers like that. Right, so we're going to meet Courtney B. Vance as Jonesy. Not him. There he is. That's Courtney B. Vance as Jones. He's the sonar guy. Says, I thought they filmed it in the Mutara Nebula because their shields and sensors won't work under the sea. Anyway, so he's teaching this young fella, whatever his name is, I don't know, all about sonar, and we learn that they've just found a whale. So they put it through SAPS, which he says what it stands for, sonar something or other system, I don't know, which helps identify things by their sound. And so they found a whale. So anyway, so Then we're going to meet the chief of the boat, Cobb, played by, there we go, Larry Ferguson, the script writer. There he is. And he says, if he starts getting too hard on you, just ask him about Pavarotti. And this is the Pavarotti scene. Everybody remembers this scene from this film, don't they? Pavarotti. It was Paganini. There you go. They were listening through his headset. There's the story that he was listening through his music, through his headphones, but somehow that got transmitted through the sea, at San Diego, and somebody way the hell out of Pearl had Paganini coming through their speakers for some reason. But anyway, so yeah. But then suddenly alarms go off and they get a contact. So they've picked up the Red October. So they're getting a track on it because it's not using we learned that the Red October's like a stealth sub, but they're not. They're just using its regular propellers at the moment, because that's what those doors are. We're going to find out in a bit when we see Jeffrey Jones. Anyway, right. So we're on board the Red October now with some young Russian men. There's Sean Connery with a wig on. No cloaking device. No, unfortunately not. It's just something else. Apparently, a lot of the sailors that you'll see on the Red October are actually of Russian descent. They went through the Los Angeles, I suppose, actors' manuals or whatever, and tried to get as many of Russian descent as they could, so they looked Russian. So a lot of them are, Russian and speak Russian, obviously. Apart from obviously Sam Neill and Tim Curry, Peter Firth, Sean Connery, and a few others. But anyway, there he is coming to the bridge or whatever it's called on the submarine. I think they built two. It's obviously a set. It's not a real submarine they filmed on. I think they built two. They built one for the Red October and one for the Dallas. But I don't know. I can't remember what he said. One might have been a redress of the other, because I don't think don't think they used them both at the same time. I don't think. So one might have been a redress of the other. But anyway, but apparently they got aeroplane engineers in to design all the controls and dials and stuff. Instead of it all being old-fashioned, dials that you'd hit with going on. It's all electronic and stuff. So they've got an aircraft designer in to come in and do all the screens and stuff, make it futuristic. Anyway, we need some more Russian, by the way. Krasnezhny vidno. All that. Political officers in your cabin is saying in Russian. And a bit more of Sean's Russian. Asha pranishtiva. Greetings. Right, so it's time for him to open his orders. So he's heading to his cabin where the political officer is waiting. It was called Putin, by the way. I don't know if that's deliberate. What was Vladimir Putin doing back in 1984? I don't know. He was in the KGB, wasn't it? Let's have a look. I'm going to look that up now because I'm just curious. Vladimir Putin, President of Russia. Let's have a look, see if it says anything about his past. Let's see. Rum-ti-tum-ti-tum. He worked in the KGB for 16 years, rising to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. So that's until 1991. So yes, he was in Russian intelligence at the time of this film in 1984. So maybe, I don't know. Did he serve on submarines? I doubt it. But maybe, I don't know. Or maybe it's just a common name. Anyway, it's Peter Firth as the political officer, who you may know from Life Force. He's been in other stuff, but I know him from Life Force, which is a great film. But anyway, we see he's reading one of Ramis's books and smoking cigarettes. Lots of smoking in this film. And John McTiernan said he didn't know if submariners smoked. He says he knew they didn't smoke on American submarines, because they'd banned that apparently about 10 years earlier. I don't know if he meant 10 years earlier than when the film was set, or 10 years earlier than when they made the film. I don't know, but I imagine on a Russian sub, they're all smoking probably. They did smoke on the submarine at the beginning of the British submarine, at the beginning of the James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me. I know they smoked then. But I don't know about real life. I was expecting Melvin from Quest RRC to be in telling me all this stuff. Anyway, so it's, stop invading my privacy. And he reads out from the book now. It's obviously, it must be a Bible, because he's reading it from Revelation, I think, talking about Armageddon. And he starts it in Russian.
Jest. Называемое по-еврейски Armageddon.
And then he goes to English, we go into his mouth, and then.
And the seventh angel.
There we go, and he starts speaking in English, which apparently were done. John McTiernan were inspired by the Nuremberg film. What do they call it now? About the Nuremberg trials. They did that with Maximilian Schell or somebody like that, where he starts speaking in German, and then they moved in on his mouth, and then he started speaking English, and then just spoke English for the rest of the film. And that's what they're doing this, pretty much, until near the end. So they're all speaking English now, but with Russian accents, apart from Sean Connery. So anyway, but he says it's not his book, it's his wife's book, and he keeps it for sentimental reasons. That's where we learn his wife's died. We'll learn later it's a year to the day since his wife's death. Anyway, he's asking as well, how many agents did the KGB put on my boat? And Putin says, if the KGB or GRU, which were the KGB were like that's a civilian security service, I suppose, in the Soviet Union, wanted. The GRU were the military security service. At that time, I think they'd be replaced by the FSB now, aren't they? Something like that. I don't know. He says, I'd be the last to know. But anyway, so they're going to open their orders. We see they've got 2 keys. I think there's got a key for this safe, and there's a red key, which I think is the missile key. But the captain's got one, and the political officer's got one. So he's handing him his key. So get the orders out. So here we go. So all right, so he's reading them out. They're going to go and do some drills and stuff with the. That's not right, is it? I think it's Korolev. So I think they've got that wrong in the subtitles, haven't they? I'm sure it's the Korolev. Just let me check. Where are we? Plot. Korolev. Where are you? I think it's the Korolev, which is Stellan Skarsgård's ship. Konovalov. All right, so they still spelt it wrong. It's the Konovalov, captained by Tupolev, who is Stellan Skarsgård's character. So that's what they've got to do. They've got to go and rendezvous and do some drills and stuff like that. And we learned that Tupolev was a student of Ramius's and is fond of him. There's a special place in his heart for you. And he says the only thing in Tupolev's heart is for Tupolev. So anyway, right. So they're going to go out, do some drills, and then go home. So anyway, so he wants to post his orders and talk to the crew, and Ramius is like saying, whatever. But obviously he don't want him to, for reasons that we'll see now. So he's going to go, and then suddenly, oh no, he grabs him from behind. He sets off walking. There we go, and he grabs him and shoves him. I'm not sure what he does. Does he use his forearm on his neck? It looks like it, doesn't it? There we go. Crushes his windpipe. And apparently in the book, it takes him 20 seconds to die, apparently, which is what we see here. When he looks down at him, there we go. He's like going, it takes him 20 seconds to die. So he's killed him. He's murdered him. So he throws some tea on the floor. Don't throw the cup or the glass or whatever it is. You'd think you'd throw that as well, wouldn't you? But he didn't. And then he starts burning these orders. And I thought I'd have waited a bit. Well, I wouldn't have waited to do. I'd have done this, burned the orders, or I'd have just hidden them, to be completely honest. Because then he gets on the blower, Dr. Petrov, which is Tim Curry's character. Report to my cabin immediately. There's been a dreadful accident. So, but yeah, it says that. While that's burning away, I'd have just hidden them. I'd have just shoved them under my mattress or something for the time being. But no, now his cabin's all filling up with smoke. But I suppose you could say it's the smoke from what's that burning smell? Putin was smoking, because we saw him smoking earlier on. Whatever. But he's got new orders. He's got another set of orders out. So, fake orders. Anyway, so that's happened there. Anyway, right, so we're back in America land. Jack Ryan's gone to see Skip Tyler at this submarine yard. And this is a real submarine, apparently, according to John McTiernan. So they got permission to film there, but not, permission to film at the back end of the submarine for some reason. He says they covered all the propellers and everything up. Don't know why, but it must be top secret. Anyway, so here he is. So this is where we're going to see Jeffrey Jones. There he is, Skip Tyler. So he says, hello, have you got a minute? Oh, are we learning? Also, by the way, he says, you play with toys now? And he says, no, it's a DSRV, Deep Submergence Rescue Vehicle, or something like that, which we're going to see later on. So we're getting introduced to this now, and we'll see it later on, where it can dock with any submarine. It's got a universal docking collar. They were generic, whatever. Right, so showing him, going to show him the photos of the Red October. What the hell is this thing in the background? No idea. Look, it's doing weird stuff. What is it? Is it like a robot? I don't know. But it's doing. Look, it's doing stuff. What the hell is it? Don't know. So he says, what are these weird doors? And he said, no, they're too big for torpedo tubes. Could you launch an ICBM horizontally? And he says, sure, why would you want to? And then he realises it's a caterpillar, magneto, with his helmet on, hydrodynamic propulsion, and he says it's like a jet engine for the water, sucks water in the front end, squirts it out the back, and he says because there's not many moving parts, it's all virtually silent, so it can't be picked up on sonar and stuff like that. Although we do find out that it can, but he says if it is picked up, it'll get mistaken for, whales humping or some seismic anomaly, which does happen. There we go. So then he learned it's being put to sea. So it's basically a first strike weapon. That's what he's going to say now. That the Red October could sneak up on America and fire hundreds of missiles. I don't know how many missiles they carry. I don't think it's hundreds. They might have millions, hundreds of warheads in the missiles. I don't know, but anyway. Rain death down on America, and nobody would know until it was all over. Anyway, meanwhile, back on the Red October, they're shoving Peter Firth into a body bag. And so they're saying, slipping on tea. But he says, do you feel better when we put in? He goes, put in? Is that what his name was? He goes, no, we've got to go back. Anyway, he says, we're not turning back. We don't turn back for accidents. But anyway, it goes, Seaman, come here. And this is Thomas Arana. Is it Arana? I don't know how to pronounce it. Let me check. I've got it somewhere written down. Yeah, Thomas Arana. And I'm thinking, I know his face from somewhere. It turns out he was in Gladiator. If you look at him, you recognise him. He played Quintus in Gladiator. Like the officer, the Roman officer who were kind of a baddie, but then were a goodie at the end. But him. So he wants him as, I don't know why he wants him as a witness. He says, I want you to witness this. There you go. I'm taking the political officer's missile key and keeping it for myself. Why does he want him as a witness? Why not him? Sven Ole Thorsen, whatever he's called. Who apparently is the chief of the boat, the Soviet chief of the boat in this. But or even Sam Neill. Sam Neill's there. Why didn't have him? We had to have this fella because this is a baddie in the film. He's one of the secret, agents in the film. He will get up to stuff later on. But anyway, so there we go, taking the key, keeping it for himself. And Tim Curry doesn't like this. It was his most unnerving. I forgot his name of his character. Bear with me. Tim Curry, Dr. Petrov. He says, you've got to have two keys. You've got to have, two people with each key so that no one man can arm the missiles. And he says, basically, shut up and go away. I'm keeping the keys. And then he looks around suspiciously. Right, back on the Dallas now. So where we're finding out that it's a new Typhoon class, an unknown variant of a Typhoon class, and that's a new one. So they've got 6 Typhoon variants in the computer, which apparently they did at that time, and even in 1989, I think the Soviets were designing the 7th variant Typhoon, but then the Soviet Union collapsed and they decided not to bother. So they did have 6. It says, call this Typhoon 7 and run a tape on it. I'm guessing that's the tape is running on it. But and then the other fella says, what he hears, because they're going to follow him now. So what he hears is, not if you stay in his baffles. If you stay right behind him, he's deaf as a post. Right. So he's got both missile keys now. So they're going to... There's always all no contacts. The sonar is clear, so they don't know that the Dallas is there lurking. So we're going to tell them their orders. So they're going to go down to America, do missile drills, and then head to Cuba. That's what he's saying. That's what their plan is. Their orders. And I think it also says, our own fleet will try and stop us because it's all, it's an exercise and all that stuff. Reminds me of the heady days of Sputnik and Yuri Gagarin. I don't know how I pronounces it like that.
Of the heady days of Sputnik and Yuri Gagarin.
Does it mean Gagarin? Whatever. But anyway, so there we go. So we learn they're going to activate the caterpillar drive or whatever they call it, the silent drive. Anyway, they do. So there we go. So that's what they're going to do. So there we go. Caterpillar engaging. So the normal propellers stop, and then the impulse drive activates. Off it goes, and then but from the Dallas's viewpoint, it just disappears. But they're all singing now. Sven Ollie Thorson gets them off singing in a minute. Have I missed it? There he goes. He starts singing the Soviet anthem. Krasnasnivich, no. Hello, Gavin Blackburn. Welcome. They just activated the Caterpillar drive and disappeared off the sonar screens. And Sven Ollie Thorson singing. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger's mate, isn't he? We saw him in Predator. He was in Predator, wasn't he? Anyway, so off they go. So it just disappears. And he says, "She's just vanished," but they're singing away. Krasnasnivitne. I don't know the words. I don't know. But off they go. And then, because the turn then, and then they detect the Dallas. There we go. Sonar contact. And is they turning to follow us? Says no, so he can't hear us. And then Sam Neill says, "What about the singing?" Because they're all singing at the top of the voices. There we go. And this is where he says, he thinks about it for a while, but obviously he wants to be followed, doesn't he? Really, because of his plan. So he thinks about it, then he says, "Let them sing." So there you go. Look, it even looks like he's saying it like that. Sing! Let them sing! Anyway, so they're all singing away. He was the running man as the security guard. Yes, he was going to score himself some steroids. That's what he says at the end, doesn't he? Right, so they're singing away. There we go. So just disappeared. But then I'm sure I heard it sounded like singing. There you go, I thought I heard singing. Anyway, right. So, back in Moscow, but I think this is Liverpool, because it says on the filming locations, where does it say? I've seen it here somewhere. Moscow scenes, Liverpool, Merseyside. So I don't know, is this in the Liver building or somewhere? I don't know. But this is... I'm hopeless at names. I've got it written down somewhere. Where are we? Peter Zinner as Admiral Padorin. Peter Zinner's an editor. And let's move him up a bit so we see his face a bit. No, we're not seeing his face, are we? Never mind. There he is. Peter Zinner, who's an editor. And John McTiernan wanted him, hire him as the editor for this film. But, he looked at the script and stuff like that, and he says that he didn't think he'd be able to do it, or do it justice. So they got somebody else in. I don't know who the editor was for this film, to be completely honest. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Who edited this bugger? Where are we? Producers, editors. Dennis Verkler and John Wright. Never heard of either of them. But this fella, Peter Zinner, I think he was the editor of on The Godfather and Godfather Part 2 and films like that. But they give him a part in the film instead as Admiral Padorin. So we see he's going to get a letter from Ramius. There we see lots of Soviet heroes. There goes a letter from Marco Ramius, and he's reading it, and now he's going to spill his tea that's come from his, I don't know, his samovar or whatever the hell they're called. Right, so we know something's up. Right, back in Washington, we're backwards, forwards, all the blooming over the place in this film. We're back in Washington now. We're near the White House. It's going to show us in a minute. See, there's the White House over there. And apparently they wanted to film in the White House, but they wouldn't let them. I don't know why. They just wouldn't. So they thought, right, we'll film in a building across from the White House, and now they're going to go in an elevator and go through some tunnels, as though going in a tunnel in secret to the White House. That's what they're doing. Anyway, so it's going for a briefing to the president's security advisor. So this is what they're doing. There you go. Sub-level 4 White House security. So it says, who's giving the briefing? For Jeffrey Pelt, which is Richard Jordan. It says, who's giving the briefing? Says, you are, boy. So it says, you'll be fine. Because he looked nervous. Hang on, I'm just an analyst. He says, you'll do fine. Give him direct answers to his questions. So off he goes. So it tells him all about the Red October and what it can do and all that stuff. And this fella, who is the harbinger of doom for this film, it's got 2 lines, and they're both just like, oh my God. But anyway, so this film, it's essentially a stealth boat. Has they said it yet? We missed it. It says, would you class it as a first strike weapon? Possibly. Here he is.
Proceed, Mr.
Oh, for Pete's sake, I've missed him. There he is. He's over there.
Packed. Goddamn things made to start a war.
And then he has another line in a few minutes. They've got a madman on their hands. But anyway, so there we go. So we also learned that the Russians, the Soviets, have sorted essentially their entire fleet to pursue the Red October. The bulk of their surface fleet. And we also learned there's loads of submarines as well after him. So they don't know what to make of it. It could be an exercise because there's no, it's not a prelude to war because there's no activity in the Pacific. It's all in the Atlantic. So it just might be an exercise. But anyway, so they don't really know. But then this fella from the NSA, this chap here, says that his agents have found out that Ramius has sent a letter to Admiral Padorin, to which Jack Ryan says, that's her uncle. Ramius's dead wife's uncle is Admiral Padorin. And he sent a letter saying he's going to fire his missiles at America. Oh no, that was it. They don't know the what's in the letter, but all the ships have been ordered to sink the Red October. That's it. We'll learn later on that they were going to fire it. Still not sure if the magneto drive is real or not, says Randall Wong. Me neither. I suppose it sounds reasonable, doesn't it? It sounds, doesn't sound out of the realms of possibility, like a jet engine for the submarine. But anyway,
Sailed with
oh shush. Yeah, so they're all got orders to sink her. They go, my God, they've got a madman on their hands. Oh, go away, just stop bringing the tone down. Dear. Anyway, so they're all arguing now, and Jack Ryan's thinking, and he's looking at this photo of Ramius, and I presume that's a photo of his wife, Ramius's wife, I'm guessing, I don't know. Or maybe that's his wife. That's Ramius, that's his wife, isn't it? And he's thinking about it, and now he realises, today's the 23rd, isn't it? And he's yeah, it is. And he exclaims, there we go, you son of a bitch, just shouts it out. John McTiernan wasn't happy with this scene, this part of this scene where he just shouts that out. It just seems a bit weird. But an outburst. But Richard Jordan says, have you got something to share, Mr. Ryan, Dr. Ryan? And he says he might be trying to defect. Of course, he tells him all the life story now, that Ramius is not Russian, he's Lithuanian by birth, raised by his paternal grandfather, and today is a year to the day since the death of his wife, and all that stuff. So they're saying he might be trying to defect. He's trained most of their officer corps, so he'd be in a position to choose the men who'll be likely to follow him and all that stuff. But and then this general says, what do you know? You're just an analyst. And he says, I know Ramius, General. Actually met him once. Have you ever met Captain Ramius? Anyway, so they've got 4 days before he'll reach America. So off they go to do their jobs. Jack Ryan's asked to stay behind. And Richard Jordan says, what should we do? He says, well, we should grab the boat, and somehow we've got to, find out a way to find out what he wants. Is if he is defecting, grab the boat and get out there. And so he says, okay, off you go. He says, what? I'm just an analyst. Well, tough you go when you're expendable. So off he goes. He's heading out to the sea in a bit. What are we on now? Oh, we're on the I forgot what they call it. Konovalov, is that what they call it? I don't know. Tupolev boat. Submarines are boats, aren't they? There's a difference between a ship and a boat, isn't there? Although they do call it a ship. I think Sean Connery calls it a ship in this. But the boats, aren't they? A ship has lifeboats. Boats don't have lifeboats. Even though the Red October does have lifeboats. But they're inflatable ones, so they don't count, I don't think, do they? Anyway, whatever. Right, they get the new orders, the Konovalov, to go and hunt down the Red October. There he is. There's Stellan Skarsgård as Tupolev, smoking again. Wants to go to 105% on the reactor, which is dangerous, apparently. But anyway, off they go. There we go. We're going to kill a friend, Yevgeny. We're going to kill Marco Ramius. So off they go. On the hunt. Meanwhile, Jonesy is running, a noise is heard through his tape deck. Kind of reminds me a bit, when we hear it, it reminds me a bit of Star Trek 4. Is it Humpback Whales he's listening to? Hang on, let's go back a bit. I think he's listening to Humpback Whales. Humpback, sir? People? Anyway. So he's listening to that. Meanwhile, back on the Red October, it's dinner time for the officers, and they're having, I don't know what the hell it is it fish or something, and borscht and potatoes and stuff. And we hear that Petrov, Tim Curry's character, is talking away, being all bourgeois and all that, saying the food's rubbish. Anyway, so Sam Neill gets rid of him because obviously Petrov is not part of the core of the crew. He says, go and get them radiation tests results and stuff, and bring the previous lot as well. Right, so this is where they're going to talk about what they're going to do, what their plan is, and obviously he wasn't expecting to have to kill Putin. I shouldn't have said that, should I? That way, if people are listening, the Putin character from this film, he wasn't planning on killing Peter Firth's character in this film, but he felt he had no choice, and they're all saying, you shouldn't have done that. Basically, now they'll try and you've signed our death warrants and stuff like that. Now it's murder. We put our lives on the line for all this. He says we should turn back, and he says there'll be no turning back. Anyway, so it says he sent a letter to Admiral Padorin telling them their intention to defect. And I said, why have you done that? He had to make a statement about it. And he says, when Cortes reached the New World, he burned his ships. As a result, his men were highly motivated. We have signed our death warrants. But they're not going to find us. Everything will be fine. So, anyway. So he dismisses them, we'll be fine. Oh, and by the way, he's eating all the way through this. Apparently he's eating cucumber and onion. He's eating cucumber and onion, apparently. Because I don't know, I think it took him, hours and hours and hours to film this scene. And he's eating all the way through it. And that doesn't look like cucumber, does it? But maybe it looks horrible, whatever it is. But yeah, we're eating cucumber and onion. I presume pickled. Because my mum used to make that a lot. Every Sunday there'd be a little dish on the kitchen table with pickled cucumber and onion in. Anyway, so here he's giving it all that look. It sounded like Picard then. Anyway, so. More tea, anyone? No, I don't want any tea. You might kill us. We don't want to be slipping on it. Anyway, so dismissed. There we go. They're all buggering off. But Sam Neill says, I'd never disagree in front of the men because he's a good first officer. But, did you have to write that letter? He says, oh, don't worry about that. It's the Americans we should be worrying about. I know the Soviet tactics, because he's trained all their men. It's the Americans we should worry about. We need to find a buckaroo, meet the right sort. We need to find a buckaroo. Not Buckaroo Banzai, whatever the hell he's called. Got the bloody hate that film. Anyway, so here he is. Here's the buckaroo. Although later on, the buckaroo is Scott Glenn's character. But anyway. Oh, sorry, I've got a tickly nose now. Gonna have an argument. So he's heading out. He's in a if it's a plane or a helicopter, I don't know, but he's heading out to the USS Enterprise. Here he is. But first, we've got to listen to this chap. Apparently, he's a comedian. I can't remember his name, but I've seen him in something else. See if I can find him. I don't know the character's name in this. He might not have a name. Helicopter pilot. Oh, it is him. No, it's him. Navigate. Rick Ducommun. I don't know how to pronounce it like that. I've seen him in other things. What have I seen him in? Let's have a look. The Spaceballs. Oh, yes, one of the guards is Spaceballs. Oh, in Groundhog Day. Oh, yes, because it was one that stole the truck, I think, wasn't it? With Bill Murray and all that, and the groundhog. He was the drunk fella. He's been in a scary movie as well, so we've seen him in loads of stuff. Yes, I thought I knew his face. Yes, it's him. Anyway, it's telling him all about this time over the Sea of Japan or something, and there's loads of turbulence. They're all throwing up. So he's telling him all that. Randall says the novel and movie were made before Patriot Games, though the timeline is reversed. All right, very good. I didn't know that. I know the novel was his first novel. Hunt for October was Tom Clancy's first novel, wasn't it? So Patriot Games is a prequel then, is it, to the Hunt for Red October? Anyway, so right. The first time that he says it twice in this film. Jack, next time you get a bright idea, just put it in a memo. And he says it again later in the film. I don't know why. Pardon me. Here we go. USS Enterprise. North Atlantic, east of Nova Scotia. Apparently this is the Enterprise. And we see a plane land, but it's one of those early warning craft. I don't think he's arriving on that, is he? Or maybe he is. I don't know. But so here he is. We see it's where we're going to meet Admiral. I forgot his name. I'm hopeless. I know I'm hopeless. Where is he? Fred Thompson, that's it, as Admiral Painter. Fred Dalton Thompson, who would go on to become a senator. And he just plays the same character in every film, doesn't he? He was in Die Hard 2, he just played the same character in that as well, didn't he? Anyway, so, and he's the captain. So he's the Admiral. This is the captain of the Enterprise. Daniel Davis. That's how we can see him from the front. We'll see him in a minute. Who has been on the USS Enterprise NCC 1701D, hasn't he? For Pete's sake. We're going to show him. We'll see him in a bit. Meanwhile, back on the Dallas. By the way, yes, introducing Jack to Admiral Painter. There we go. And he's been put in a naval uniform because James Earl Jones thought a low profile would be a good idea. So he's shoved him in I don't know what. I don't know. Oh, is it Commander or Captain? I think it's Commander. 3 stripes in it. Is it 3 Commanders uniform? Anyway, meanwhile, back on the Dallas, Jonesy tells him his theory. He's been listening to his tapes. So he says he's been listening to this noise, and the computer, SAPS, just thinks it's a seismic anomaly. But he plays it back at 10 times speed. So he plays it back at 10 times speed, and is it going to do it? Go back again. And then, there we go. It says, that's got to be man-made. Which it does sound man-made. But I suppose any regular noise, even natural, would sound man-made if you speeded it up, wouldn't it? But anyway, it's his clue. So he says, okie dokie. And we also learn that they've been picking it up at regular intervals. He's been finding it there. And we learn that he's heading for a formation called Thor's Twins, because the Soviets have got these hyper-accurate maps of these undersea canyons. And there we go. So they're heading for Thor's Twins, which is a deep sea canyon thingamabob. So they're going to chase him. He says, if you know now, you know what to listen to. Will you find him? He says, yes, I will. So they're setting the course for the bottom end of that canyon thing, because they can't go through the canyons because they don't have the hyper-accurate maps. But the Soviets do. Why they want to do that, I'm not entirely sure, but they do. But anyway. Meanwhile, back on the Enterprise, there's Daniel Davis. He played Moriarty, the holographic Moriarty in Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Picard. But here he's playing the captain of the Enterprise, not a hologram. Anyway, so it's where he's telling them, about Ramius and thinks he's going to defect and all that stuff. And he's saying, what's his plan? Ruskies don't take a dump without a plan. So he's saying he doesn't really know. That's where we learn he doesn't really know what's going on. He's kind of winging it. And by the way, apparently on aircraft carriers, they don't have portholes. John McTierney says, we just put them in because we thought they'd look cool. But he says, in a real aircraft carrier, they don't have portholes. And so, an admiral's staterooms or whatever would be a lot smaller as well. This is obviously a set. But anyway. So, he don't really have a plan. So, but he's really tired. So he says, go and have a rest, and we'll talk later. There we go. So off he goes. We learn that Daniel Davis doesn't like him. He doesn't like that he's in a naval uniform, pretending to be an officer. But then Fred Thompson says, cutting some slack. He were a Marine back in the day, and then he were in a helicopter crash, and everybody died apart from him, and they were in hospital for a year, and he had to learn how to walk again, and all that stuff. So cut him some slack. So I says, okie dokie. Right, so here's the Red October heading past Thor's twins. Here it goes. At 1/4 impulse speed or something. So off they go. So they're heading in now, and this is where we're going to learn all about it. Now they've got the super accurate maps, and it's all done with a stopwatch. And certain speeds. There you go. You may commence your run. So they're going at a certain speed, and he's got a stopwatch, so they know where to make the turns and stuff like that. And he even says, give me a map and a stopwatch, and I'll fly the Alps in a plane with no windows. And the other fella says, if the map's accurate enough, which they hope it is. So off they go. There they go. Heading into the misty mist. Looks like sea view, doesn't it, from that angle a little bit, doesn't it, from Boys to the Bottom of the Sea. Blue, blue. Anyway, so off they go. But then, for some reason, I don't know why, Sean Connery comes in and says, increase speed to 26 knots and recompute. And I don't know why he's decided on this. Maybe he just trusts his men, to give them, orders, but apparently they've got to go in at a certain speed, and not to deviate from that, but they are doing. Anyway, so off they go. He says, this ship moves like a pig, but anyway. Right, so they're cracking on, but then there's an explosion. They're preparing to come right, and then there's an explosion in a bit. Yeah, there we go. The ship rocks, the boat rocks, submarine, whatever it rocks, and something's happened. And we learn there's been some sabotage. They don't know it yet. They think something's just broken. So the caterpillar drive stopped working. So it says, well, we'll have to sink to the bottom, stop moving and fix it. But Ramius says, no, we've got to keep going. Activate the regular drive. And carry on. Says, but we'll not be silent. It'll be fine, he says. So off they go. Right, so we're back with, I forgot his name. Is it Mr. Peltz? I've forgotten already. I'll just say Richard Jordan. We're back with Richard Jordan, who you may know from Logan's Run. He was in Logan's Run, the film, wasn't he? I'm sure there's been loads of other stuff, but I'm blanking on everything. I just remember that. It's where he's meeting Joss Ackland, who is the Soviet. There he is, Joss Ackland, the Soviet ambassador, who is telling them that something is afoot. They've lost a submarine, and the reason all those ships are heading out is because it's a huge rescue operation. When did Joss Ackland do Lethal Weapon 2? Where is he, Joss Ackland? Where is it? Where the hell's Joss Ackland gone to? There you are. Joss Ackland. When were Lethal Weapon 2? 1989. So, yeah. So he'd just done Lethal Weapon 2, and then he did this. So I wonder if John McTiernan saw his accent in Lethal Weapon 2 and he thought, oh yeah, he's got a kind of shitty accent, kind of guttural accent. And thought, I'll book him for the Hunt for Red October. He can basically do the same accent, like South African and Russian. What's the difference? Diplomatic immunity. Anyway, so he played the baddie in that, didn't he? And then he did this. I think he's a Yorkshireman, is Joss Ackland, is he? I probably got that wrong. Let's have a look. Oh, no, he ain't. He's from London. Why did I think he were a Yorkshireman? Maybe it's the name, Ackland. It's a good Yorkshire name, isn't it? I always thought he was a Yorkshireman. No. Must be thinking of somebody else. I must be thinking of somebody else. As usual. Anyway, where were we? To tell him that, he's saying, got all your ships out there. It could look a prelude to war. Because, if it's just an exercise, we've got to put our ships out there to keep an eye on your ships. And wars have started for less and all that stuff. But anyway, so he says to him, we've lost one of our submarines and it's a big rescue operation. He says, oh, right, how can I help? By the way, he's got a cool, great voice as Joss Ackland.
One is even the son of a Central Committee member.
I wish I had a voice like that. Anyway, so he says, how can we help? So, I'm not entirely sure how you can help, but I will pass on your offer. Anyway, meanwhile, out over the sea, we're in an aeroplane, a Bear Foxtrot, number 692, Soviet anti-submarine aircraft south of Iceland. And they find the Red October, because remember, she's gone on a regular propellers now, so they can hear her. She's not cloaked anymore. So they're going to launch a a torpedo. Here he is. Oh, there we go. They're going to battle stations. They hear a torpedo enter the water, and they launch countermeasures. Here's the plane. Look. Oops, steady. The weapon is away. Torpedo is active. It does show it, honest. There we go. Weapon is away. For some reason, I think he looks like Spider-Man. Not the new one, the old one. The Sam Raimi one. I forgot his bloody name now. Tobey Maguire. For some reason, look, Tobey Maguire eyes. I don't know who he is. I don't think it will be Tobey Maguire. Be too young at this stage, wouldn't he? And he kind of looks like Christian Bale. I don't know. Eyes are eyes. There we go. The torpedo in the water. He says it. There we go.
Torpedo in the water.
Torpedo in the water. Anyway, right. So off they go. The torpedo's heading for him now. They've got to launch countermeasures. Here they are. There's the countermeasures. I was telling the other fella to shut up. Shut up! Shows the countermeasures. There they go. It showed them earlier on, the countermeasures. I'm not exactly sure what these are. Oh, there we go. Launch countermeasures. There we go. Pew, pew. I looked it up. I thought, they look like giant Alka-Seltzers or something in this film, don't they? But I looked it up, what countermeasures submarines use, and apparently they use like a thing that vibrates and does loads of noise, essentially, underwater to confuse, enemy sonar and torpedoes and stuff. So I'm guessing that's what this is, a visual representation of that, I suppose. Maybe they're just vibrating and making the water go all bubbly. I don't know. But they kind of look like big Alka-Seltzers, don't they? Fizzing in the water. Anyway, so they're carrying on. There we go. There's the not the best special effect, is it, to be honest? But this is the torpedo heading for them, and but they're heading to the next turn, and they've got to turn in a particular time. Is it going to show it? There we go. He's plotting the line. They've got to turn there, but he's leaving it. Is Raimi still the very last second? He doesn't give the order to turn, I don't think. No, he's saying, we've got to turn, Captain. Not yet. And then, so he's doing the plot that carries on. They're running out of space. They have to enter that line, or else they'll hit the canyon wall, won't they, I suppose. And he's leaving it till the last minute. And then he says, Captain. He goes, you're relieved. They're going to do it in a minute. We're out of lane. You're relieved.
You're relieved.
There we go. And then he goes right, full rudder, and turns the boat and everything. It turns it just in time. And the torpedo, here it comes. There we go. The Red October turns just in time. Look, the torpedo misses it and slams into the canyon wall. And they live to fight another day. So off they go. Right, so the engineer, the chief engineer, Scotty we'll call him. I don't know what his name is. Shows what has been done. There we go. That has been ripped out. So it's sabotage. Somebody's sabotaged the ship. In a way that have taken them a while to find it. So they don't know who it is, a crew member. We know who it is. It's that cook fella, Thomas Arana. Anyway, so they know they've got a saboteur on board. And it says it may be necessary to get rid of the crew earlier than we expected. Meanwhile, back on the Enterprise, Ryan is having a shower and leaning on this pole for some weird reason. And talking to himself. He's talking to a lot in this bit. He's wondering how you can get a crew off a submarine, and he's just saying it out loud over and over again. How can you get a crew off a submarine? How can you get a crew off a nuclear submarine? Ooh, and he realises. So he goes to the CIC, and but it's not a good time. So no, he's going to evacuate the subs. It's not now. Mr. Ryan, we're busy. And there's a plane coming in. A plane apparently clipped with that one of those submarine hunter planes. One of their planes has clipped it. And they're trying to get him back on board. So, meanwhile, actually, I kind of like this little scene. I like what Daniel Davis does, because he looks over and he sees that Jack Ryan's trying to stay out of the way. There we go. We see him there. He's trying to keep out of the way, Jack Ryan, and Daniel Davis looks over and thinks, I'll cut him a break and I'll explain to him what's going on. So that's what he's doing. And then we're also getting a visual representation of what's going on in the world at the minute. We see that off the east coast of America, the Soviets have got 4 submarines lurking. There we go. Off every east coast port. The Russians are in red. The Soviets are in red. The Americans are in... Is it supposed to be white or blue? I think it's blue, isn't it? Surface ships are circles. Submarines are them ones. And it's where we see that they've got surface ships and submarines heading down there, and they're banging away on their sonar, but they're going really fast. And he says, they're going so fast, they could run over my daughter's stereo and not hear it. But he says, so Jack Ryan says, they're obviously driving him somewhere. They're trying to force him in a certain direction. And says, they're forcing him into the, there we go. Into the submarines that hounds to the hunters. That's what their plan is. But then he says, who's this fella over here? Hang on, where are we? It says, who's this here? It says, that's the Dallas. He picked up, a seismic anomaly, and he was checking it out. And there we go, Bart Mancuso's boat, which is Scott Glenn. And says, checking out a seismic anomaly. And he says, I've got to get to the USS Dallas because Mancuso's found the Red October, because its Caterpillar drive could easily be mistaken for a seismic anomaly. But meanwhile, we're going to, on the TV, not showing it in real life, we're going to see 2 different planes nearly crashing in a minute. I think it's 2 different planes, yeah. Right, let's go back again. We see that plane there, which is obviously not the plane we're going to see in a minute. I don't know what that is. I'm not au fait with aircraft. F-15, F-4, I don't know, whatever. But then we cut to this next shot, and it's a totally different plane, look. But apparently this is from 1951, this footage. This plane crashing into the deck. There we go. Apparently the pilot were fine. Had a few burns and stuff, but apparently were fine. And he carried on. But, yeah. Totally from a different age. About 30-odd years earlier. But anyway. And then we cut to a wide shot of the Enterprise. Anyway, so he says, right, get me on that sub. So they're taking him out on a helicopter, and they've got to turn it into a flying gas can because it's that far away. So off they go. So if you ditch, you're dead. Remember the survival gear, but I don't think it'd last very long. But anyway, so off the helicopter goes, heading out to the Dallas. Meanwhile, on the Dallas, I think he's found the Red October, or he thinks he has. Yeah, there it is. So I think they've fixed the caterpillar drive now. So I think they're silent again now. I think. But anyway. Oh, this is where they're talking about Sam Neill and Sean Connery are talking about, after the defect. He says, "Do you think they'll let me live in Montana?" And he says they're going to get a round American wife who will cook rabbits for him, and he'll drive state to state with his recreational vehicle or his pickup truck, and he'll spend the winters in Arizona. I think I will need 2 wives. Anyway. So they're all thinking about what they're going to do. Anyway, but right. So they found the Red October. There it is. They're right behind her. Right behind her. I think this is the Dallas, and that's the Red October, isn't it? Yes, it is. So they're right behind her. She's doing a crazy Ivan. That's it. It's turning suddenly, and they've got to shut everything down and hope that they're not noticed. Anyway, so I think suddenly, not suddenly, but the Dallas gets the message that Jack Ryan's on his way. But in a minute, there we go. They get the message. You're not going to believe this. So they've got to surface now for the helicopter. They said we've got to turn back in I don't know, 2 minutes or something. We have to turn back for the captain. Give it a couple more minutes. It says fuel status says we turn around now, and says don't you have reserves? Says yeah, we're going to use that in wartime. Says if I don't get aboard the Dallas, we could be at war. There we go. You've got 10 minutes worth of fuel. We stay here 10 more minutes. Technically, no, it should be 5 minutes, shouldn't it? Because they've got to get there and get back, haven't they? So call it 5 minutes. But luckily, they see the Dallas. So they lower him down. There we go. I'm going to show it. Where is it? There it is. Got a submarine. There it is. There's the Dallas over there. I don't know what submarine they actually used. I think it's in the notes. Let's have a look. I've seen it somewhere. Where have I seen it? What submarine? Doubled for the Dallas in these sea. When we see it at sea. Where is it? USS Houston. There we go. During filming in 1989, the USS Houston, or is it Houston, whatever, which doubled for the USS Dallas in the movie, snagged the tow cable between the commercial tugboat Barcona and a barge, sinking the tugboat 10 miles off Long Beach, California. 1 crewman drowned and 2 more were rescued. Oh dear, that's very sad, isn't it? Anyway. Right, so they've got to lower him on the line. They've got to get somebody out there to grab him. And apparently it's a storm and it's raining and there's lightning and stuff. But they can't get him. And one fella gets hurt. I think it's this chap. Knocks him off. And so they're reeling him back in. They said, we're reeling him back in, we're heading back. So he gets rid of it. There we go. He disconnects his line and falls into the water. There we go. There he goes. Apparently, this scene was Alec Baldwin's idea. He said to John McTiernan, it'd be cool if he just released his line and just fell into the water. It'd look cool. And John McTiernan says, "Yeah, it would. So we'll do it." So they dropped him in the sea. I don't know if they actually dropped, because we can see him go down there, but I don't know. But that's onto a blue screen or whatever. I don't know. But is that Alec Baldwin? I doubt it. You never know that, I don't know. Because it'll be in a controlled situation, won't it? Anyway. And the sea looks very placid. Anyway, so they get him on board. There we go. Pleasure to be aboard. Right. Joss Ackland's back with Richard Jordan. And so he's saying that he's going to tell them now, lying to them, obviously, that Ramius has threatened to fire his missiles at America. I think that's what he's going to say. There we go. That's his intention, to fire his missiles on the United States. So the stakes have been raised. But anyway, obviously he's lying, because that's not what they're going to do. But they want to, now they want the Americans' help to destroy the Red October. And says we've got to find the Red October. Says we'd found her. We had to break off to come and collect you. But then they've also got a message now that that they've got to find the Red October and sink her, because she's going to fire her missiles at America. But anyway, so off they go. Right, so they're diving. By the way, all the submarine sets were on a gimbal, so they could rock them, and in various ways to make it look like they were diving and stuff like that. And all the dials and stuff worked when they did the gimbal thing. They all worked and said it were getting deeper and stuff like that, which is fair enough. Right, so he's telling him he's going to defect, so we've got to find him. Just give me my chance. And he says, well, whatever. Somehow we've got to get in touch with, got to contact Ramius. But anyway, so there they are. Oh, actually, the full reverse, and he says, they'll hear us. There we go. All stop. He says, but if he flinches, I'm going to blow him right to Mars. I don't know why he says Mars, but anyway. But then, so they've now detected there's this submarine behind them. So I think the surface. I think the surface. The Dallas has opened his outer doors, preparing to fire, just like the Minbari in Babylon 5, opening his torpedo tubes as to show open-handed. So anyway, so he says no, don't open. So he says don't open our doors, but lock a firing solution into the computer. Get on with it. Anyway, so they're going to periscope depth. So he's going to send him a message by Morse code. There we go. So they're going to talk to each other now, and he's saying, "Are you going to defect?" And all that stuff. If yes, send one ping, sonar ping or whatever. There we go. So verify our range to target, one ping only. Aye, Captain. So they do the old. There we go. Boom. Right. So they've got to find somewhere deep where they can think they're going to scuttle the ship. So they're going to head to the Laurentian Abyssal. That's where they are. And they've got to go down there. There we go. The Laurentian Abyssal, which is 4,798 fathoms. I don't know what that's, feet, yards. I presume that's the depth. And it is deeper than everywhere else, isn't it? So that's where they're gonna head over there. So right. So off they go, heading to the Laurentian Abyssal. And they're also going to meet on the way. I think they're going to meet up with Skip Tyler, another ship with that DSRV with the generic docking collar. That's what they're going to do. But they're on their way. Right. Remember the Tupolev, not Tupolev, the Konavalev or whatever it's called, is lurking. Anyway, so they're on their way. They go the Grand Banks just north. There we go, of the Laurentian Abyssal. 20 hours later, and now, oh no, the reactor's melting down or whatever. There we go. So they've got to get the crew off the ship. There There we go. There's Tim Curry saying, we've got to, there's radiation, just swapping out the air won't work. We've got to get the crew off the ship. So he says, okay, abandon ship. Myself and my officers will remain behind, he says. There we go. So they get the life rafts out. And there we go. And the ship's coming. There it is. Can't remember what the ship is. It does say what the ship is, name of the ship, but I can't remember what it is. But anyway, hang on, does it say? Can you identify it? Don't know. Anyway, do not submerge or you'll be fired upon, the saying. So anyway, they get all the men off, and obviously they are going to submerge. But they launch a torpedo. And this fella, who kind of reminds me like a young John Delancey, but it isn't. And that's James Earl Jones's hand. By the way, in the commentary, for some reason, John McTiernan made a big deal about James Earl Jones being an admiral, because he's a black man, and he kind of made a big deal out of it about them not making a big deal about it. But he kept bringing it up. Anyway. So the torpedo's in the water and it's heading for the Red October, which has submerged again now. Oh dear. Right, where were we? So there it goes, 400 yards. They're counting it down, and he's opened up this red button, and Admiral Greer presses the button and destroys the torpedo before it hits the Red October. And the torpedo's detonated, and he says, for some reason, he gets out his ID. He really knows who he is. He presumes so. You heard it hit the hull, and I was never here. I was showing him his ID. And I know who you are, Admiral. But anyway. Oh, the Reuben James. Is that the name of the ship? The Reuben James. Right, so the Dallas has got the... look, see, it's got the DSRV on. Not the Sequest DSV, the DSRV. So they're going to head over to the Red October. Another Star Trek actor, this fella. I don't know his name, but he played... I can't remember. He played the Lieutenant Commander of the USS Sutherland in Redemption Part 2. I think it was. It was Commander Data's second in command on the USS Sutherland. It's him, isn't it? I can't remember the character's name. I don't know the actor's name either, but it's him. Right. So off they go. They're heading over. So taking Jonesy and the captain, Scott Glenn, and obviously Jack, and a couple of other people. They're heading out. So off they go. Cool. Kind of reminds me of a bit Event Horizon, isn't it? But that came after this, didn't it? But that kind of reminds me of Event Horizon. So I imagine Paul W.S. Anderson stole this scene for Event Horizon. Apparently this fella who's driving the sub is an actual, submersible pilot. Don't know his name, but that, according to John McTiernan, he is. That's why he's wearing glasses, because he refers to submariners as geeks, to John McTiernan. They all wear glasses. They're all, no, not geeks. He calls them all techies, because it's all about technology and stuff. Stole the scene, and the actor is one of the actors in the sub in Event Horizon. I'm trying to remember now. Can't remember. Not Jason Isaac. Sam Neill. Yes, Sam Neill. Yes, sorry. Yes, Sam Neill's in Event Horizon, isn't he? Yeah. Oh dear. Where were we? No, they're saying he's defecting. So anyway, so the docked. There we go. How do they know where the land right on the hatch? Don't they? In these things, there's know where the hatch is every time. Anyway, Steiner, the character's name. Does it say? On the? See if it says. I can find Steiner, the name of that actor. I'm just curious. Oh, there we go. Timothy Carhart. Yes. Yes, it's been in other stuff as well, because that name rings a bell. But anyway. So, bangs on it with a hammer, and they open up, and the Americans, come, Americans. So they go down, and this is where he calls him a buckaroo. But first, we see that he's holding on to, so he's going to blow up the ship or something if it all goes wrong. And I said, no, it's fine. And Jack Ryan, he's been telling everybody in the film he doesn't smoke. They keep saying to him, you want a cigarette? No, don't smoke. But he likes coffee. So he asks for a cigarette from this chap, as a bridge, as a ice breaking thing. There we go, and he smokes, and obviously he's not used to it. I think it's turning green, but they're speaking Russian in this. The Soviets, they've gone back to Russian instead of English. And then Ramius looks at Dallas. Captain of the Dallas, I forgot his name now, Mancuso's sidearm is where he says, the buckaroo.
Kakovny but buckaroo.
Kakovny but buckaroo. And obviously Jack Ryan can speak Russian. There we go, and he says, the captain thinks you look like a cowboy. He says, you speak Russian, but he says it in Russian, and he says, And he replies in Russian, and he remembers this line. I don't know if on the documentary that's on here, which were made, I don't know, 10 years, I don't know, after the film came out. He says he still remembers his line.
Немного.
This bit. Oh, for Pete's sake.
Противник.
No, well, whatever. He remembers it, and he did remember it. So they start speaking English now. So, it says, very well, I present to you the ballistic submarine Red October. So there we go. Then they hear a torpedo go by, and they says, the Americans are shooting at us. And Jonesy says, no, the pitch is too high, torpedo's Russian. An Alpha class Soviet submarine is there, so it's Tupolev's arrived. And so they're firing another torpedo at him. Anyway, so he's got to turn. They fire another torpedo, and he says he's got to steer right to 315. And Mancuso's saying, no, don't do it. He says, do it, turn to 315. He says, it's a mistake. And he says, no, it ain't. And so it's turning into the torpedo. And getting 115% on the reactor, and it works because it's all dramatic and exciting, and there we go. We see torpedo impact, and it disintegrates. Is it going to? There it goes. Here it comes, and it boink. It just hits the submarine and breaks apart before it had chance to arm itself. So it shortened the distance between the sub and the torpedo. But it says now Tupolev is removing all the safety features off his torpedoes. He won't make that same mistake again. Meanwhile, this fella arrives, the cook's assistant, and starts shooting. Oh no! And he shoots Sam Neill. And there we go. Sam Neill dies. And he says, I would like to have seen Montana, and die. So they've got to go and get him. And we learn he's gone to the... He's going to blow up one of the missiles because they've got nuclear missiles on board. Nuclear. So Ramius and Ryan head to get him, and he gives Mancuso gives Ramius his sidearm. So you may need this, sir, and he takes it. And I'd be like, we're a military vessel. I'm sure I have. I'm sure we have many weapons. We have weapons lockers all over. You'd think so, wouldn't you? I'll get me, but whatever, he takes it. Right. By the way, I like this. There we go. I like this little line here. It talks to where Mancuso talks to one of the other Soviet officers.
Yes, sir. Get your butt.
Oh, Pete's sake.
You speak English? Yes, sir. Get your butt over here.
Get your butt over here. Anyway, so they follow this fella into the missile silos. Justice says, man, that is sad every time. It is sad, actually, when Sam Neill dies, because he was a nice, a likeable character and a loyal friend to Ramius, and now he's dead, and he won't see Montana, and he won't get his round American wife who'll raise rabbits and cook them for him. But anyway, right, so they're after this chap, and he shoots Ramius, look, in the shoulder, thankfully. So he sends Jack after him, and he says, things in here don't react well to bullets. So off he goes. Now, be careful what you shoot at. Most things in here don't react well to bullets. So off he goes. Meanwhile, the Tupolev is still bearing down on the Red October. There we go. And I was doing an impression of him. I don't react too well to bullets. Anyway, he takes care of the bad guy. But I think another there we go, another torpedo's being fired, and here it comes. Oh, I'm going too fast. They've got another torpedo's coming, and think, oh no, we'll not get out of this one. But yay, the Dallas arrives just in time. There we go. Way to go, Dallas! It is kind of exciting, this bit, I must admit. And the Dallas, the torpedo acquires the Dallas. So they're going to release their fizzy countermeasures and blow all the tanks and surface the ship. They've got to, take them to the roof. There's the fizzy stuff. And off they go. And then we actually see, I presume this is the Houston, surfacing. I wonder how much that cost the film. I wonder how much the Navy charged Paramount to film. There we go. A nuclear submarine leaping out of the water. I bet they're all hanging on inside. Anyway, cool shot, production value and everything. But anyway, so they've got away with it. But the torpedoes looking for another target. So it acquires the Red October again. Meanwhile, the bad guy has got a wire. He's going to blow up the ship. The goddamn cook. So he shoots him. There we go. Bang, bang, bang. Shoots him, and thankfully he doesn't do his wires. So they all get back to the bridge or whatever it's called, and the torpedo's still coming round. Look, oh no, it's going to get us. But it's not. But by the way, now it's Mancuso. Earlier on with the first torpedo, it was Ramius in charge, and it was him that foiled that torpedo's plans. Now it's Bart Mancuso's turn. It's Scott Glenn's turn to save the ship, boat, whatever you want to call it. And here it is. There we go. He's flown it, or sailed it, whatever, piloted the sub close to the Tupolev ship, and there we go. Torpedo dead ahead, you arrogant ass! You've killed us. And there we go. And the torpedo hits the bad guy's ship, hits Stellan Skarsgård's ship, and then we see they must have had just some barrels or something in the water that just blew up. But that's the submarine blowing up. And then all the Russian crew think that that's the Red October that's dead. And they're all, oh no. But and that was the plan. That's just helped that, because now the Russians think the Red October's sunk. And this is Richard Jordan telling Joss Ackland that, because it's the deep water, that abyssal, and they don't think they'll ever be able to reach it. But the crew has been saved, the majority of the crew, and they'll be returned home and all that stuff. And so everything's okay. But, sad that it came to this. But anyway, but then he says, there is one other matter, as he says, with his cap in hand. There is one other matter. We've lost another submarine. The Tupolev ship. I can never remember what it's called. We've lost that one as well. So you've lost another submarine. Oh dear. Anyway, meanwhile, hang on, where are we? Tells us here where it is. There we go. The Penobscot River, north of Searsport, Maine. That's where the Red October is. Anyway, so that's where apparently it's 100 miles from any naval base. The last place the satellites will ever look. I doubt that very much. But I've got some terrible compositing or blue screen or green screen, whatever. That background looks awful and it looks terrible. But anyway. But apparently John McTiernan were really happy with it. He says it looks fine on a TV. No, it don't. So anyway, so this is basically the end of the film, getting to know each other, blah, blah, blah. Look, that's terrible. You can even see the background through his hair in a minute when he turns round. A little revolution's good for the soul and all that stuff. That's a good thing every now and again. There we go. Look, you see it background through his hair. Terrible. But, that's the end of the film. Well, no, not quite the end of the film, because Jack can go back home to his English wife in London on the plane with Stanley. There he is. And he's asleep, look, because he can sleep on planes now. And there's Stanley, which apparently is the same bear that we see at the beginning of Die Hard. It's that same bear that John McClane were taking for his daughter. So there we go. We also see it in the limo as well, don't we? It's that bear. It's Stanley from this film. So there we go. And there we go. The film ends then. Cool film. One of the best films ever. Justin says, great film. It is a really, really good film. But I like it better than the others, Justin. Justin likes, was it Clear and Present Danger more than this? I like this more. But then again, I haven't seen the other films for a long time, so maybe I've changed my mind. I've seen this a few times, but I've not seen the others for a while. But yeah, great film. So off he goes back to his English wife, Gates McFadden. But there we go. There we go. Andrew Divoff. I know that name. Is he the Wishmaster, Andrew Divoff? I'm going to look him up now. Is it the same one? Andrew Divoff. Let's find him. Find him in this cast list. There he is. Played Andre Amalric. Is it the same one? I think it is, isn't it? Yes, he's the Wishmaster. The Djinn from the Wishmaster films. Thought so. I never noticed him in this film. Must have been a... blink and you miss it. Anyway, Wingray says this has more of a classic status than the rest, even if they're better. But they're not. Anyway, yes, in my Connery voice, says Justin. Justin 3415. Anyway, so there we go. Great film. If you haven't seen it, where have you been for the last 36 years since it came out? But it is a really good film. I do really like it, and you can get it on Blu-ray at a reasonable price. I think it's only cost me like $6.99 or something. This, and it's a decent Blu-ray. Anywho, right. So there we go. Nothing else happens at the end, does it? We just get the all that stuff. There's no end credits, is there? Then Jack Ryan will return. Maybe it does. I don't know. Does it? Does it say Jack Ryan will return? No, boo. Anyway, right. So there we go. Great film. That's it. An all-star cast in that film. Go away now. That was it. Yes, the Red October will return in Avengers Doomsday, along with everything else. This one is beloved because of Connery also. Yes, it's the most high profile of them all, isn't it? Even though Harrison Ford is a higher profile actor than Alec Baldwin, but because of Sean Connery, and maybe a little bit of James Earl Jones, because he's a beloved actor as well, isn't he? But he's in the others, isn't he, as well? James Earl Jones plays Jim Greer in the other films. So anyway, Connery is great in everything. He wasn't that good in Avengers. Not the Marvel Avengers, the Avengers with Ray Fiennes and what's the face? Kill Bill. I'm blanking on the name. It wasn't great in that. But anyway, right, so there we go. So that's the end of The Hunt for Red October. Great film, genuinely a great film. One of the greats of the late 20th century. Love Connery as a furry. Yes, that scene with all in teddy bear suits. Yes, that's the Uma Thurman. There we go. Yes, I knew it was a 3-letter name, but I couldn't think. I think Mia for some reason. Anyway, right. What's coming up next? There we are. On Wednesday, Angry Berry. On Wednesday for Watch Party Wednesday, we're watching. I forgot what bloody call it now. Jack the Giant Killer. We're watching Jack the Giant Killer, not the Bryan Singer directed Jack the Giant Slayer, not that one. The proper one from 1961, I think. We're watching that with Kerwin Matthews and what they call him, Torin Thatcher, whatever the hell they call him. We're watching that one with some cool stop motion monsters, but not as good as Ray Harryhausen monsters, but they'll do. He was the best part in Avengers. Yeah. He was. He did his best. That's what we're doing on Wednesday. So, and on Friday, for Friday Night Apart with Fear, we're going to break down and review No One Will Save You. I haven't got a disc of that because it's not available on physical media. Not available on physical media, as far as I can tell. I looked at Amazon, they didn't have it. It's only available on Disney Plus and Hulu. So, anyway, so there you go. But it's a good film, is that one. No One Will Save You. Thanks to Justin for the recommendation. And then next Friday, is Friday the 13th, we're doing Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. I won't spoil it till we get to it. He was going to be Gandalf, but he didn't understand it. He says he didn't get it, did he? Sean Connery were offered the role of Gandalf, and he said, I don't get it. But he got, I don't know, Zardoz, and he got Highlander. Anyway, thank you. And is that it? Have I done? Yes. And I don't know what I'm watching. Don't know what I'm watching next Monday. I don't think I've got it arranged, have I? No, I don't think I have. Right. And Morpheus. Were he offered Morpheus in The Matrix? Blimey. Don't remember that. I'll take your word for it. Can't imagine Sean Connery as Morpheus. But anyway, that'd be weird. But anyway, it'd be good anyway. I've still got a really soft spot for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I thought he was really good in that, and he says it's the film that made him retire from acting, and I really like it. But so we'll do that one day. Definitely. I'm gonna have to see if I can get it on Blu-ray. I've got it on DVD. See if I can find it on Blu-ray. League of LXG. We'll do that one day. I really like that film. Anyway, Justin says, really, wow, it would have been great. Yes. He was offered a role in The Matrix, but I'm not sure which one. It probably was Morpheus. I can't imagine him being anybody else. The Oracle. And he didn't understand that either. Now, that's fair enough, because The Matrix is kind of weird, isn't it? But, Neo, you're the one, yes. The Matrix. Anyway, right, so we're all done and dusted. We'll leave it there. So thanks, Justin and Win Grace and Gavin Blackburn. Did anybody else pop in? Let me check. Randall Wong. Thanks, Randall Wong. I think that's it, isn't it? Let's have a look on Rumble, make sure nobody's left any messages on Rumble. No, they never do. I think I've never seen like one message on Rumble. But anyway. Choose a pill from Sean. Thank you. Right, so we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching. Hang on, let me get sorted before I start saying all this stuff. Where is it? There we go. So thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, I'll say I'm sure I've forgotten something. I'm sure. I bet I have. But never mind. It can't be important. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. But anyway, look after each other. Until next time, I'll say